Help me understand why Buffalo did this.
Dan, I think they saw that the headache was bigger in Buffalo the last year and a half than the talent was. And when you got a guy who doesn't want to be there and a coach who seems to micromanage a little in McDermott, and he's been with a couple hard ass coaches with Mike Zimmer and
Yeah.
has Stefon Diggs, and now with McDermott, he's coming to a guy who's not a micromanager, but the rules in the building. I think Buffalo did this because they wanted to clear out a guy that they just didn't think was going to elevate them to the next level. And it's probably good for Stefon Diggs as well. Now, Buffalo, they went out and got Curtis Samuel in the offseason. Their weapons now, they're going to have to elevate to another level. They've been sitting on the doorstep trying to get to the Super Bowl. So I'm interested to see how they're going to take care of their draft, but they need more weapons on offense now. And maybe they're thinking Josh Allen can overcome it. But when a headache becomes a migraine in one city for whatever reason, and now it's happened in two cities, you're hoping it doesn't happen in three if you're a Texans fan. But this is an upgrade for the Texans to add to an already explosive offense with Joe Mixon here as well. But Buffalo did it because the headache became bigger than the talent in Buffalo.
Yeah, that's what I would be concerned about. You're getting a 30-year-old receiver who may not be a number one receiver anymore, and you have a young quarterback like we had with OBJ and Baker Mayfield. And Baker Mayfield wanted to make OBJ happy. And you change your offense. And that was to the detriment of the Cleveland Browns.
Dan, that is such a great point. And I was talking about this and thinking about this yesterday when this happened. Talking about this morning is it's what happens is if you have a strong personality as a wide receiver. I played with Chris Carter. He was a strong personality, and he wanted the ball, and rightfully so. He's in the Hall of Fame. But he still had to fit in with the Jake Reeds, and we had Anthony Carter, and we had Herschel Walker, and we had Robert Smith. So, and with Warren Moon and Jim McMahon at quarterback, you had an opportunity to kind of respect that position and knew where you were, still found a way to get him the ball. But it's going to take incumbent upon C.J. Stroud and them not to fit into to Stefon Diggs. It's just Stefon Diggs to fit in with what they're doing. But it is easy to get to a point where you say, I got to get him involved. I don't want him to be a malcontent. And then it changes the way you go about being honest and reading the defense. And Dan, I'm going to tell you, it's not now. It's not in training camp. It's not in OTAs or mini camp or in August. The real test is going to be when Nico Collins has 9 catches for $150 and 2 touchdowns. And in game 3, Stefon Diggs catches 2 balls for 28 yards and the Texans win. That's when you're going to find out. Where's the headache? Is it a migraine or is it just a little nag because it's hanging around and a Tylenol will fix it? This is a tremendous upgrade if, in fact, Stefon Diggs goes back to the way he was when he came into this league and had something to prove. And he does have something to prove. And I just think the bandwidth of this offense going into a game is huge. But there is still that if. And if you have too many ifs on a team, it becomes a problem. I think with Ryans and C.J. Stroud, and I think he's at a slippery slope in his career as Stefon Diggs to get to the level that he wants to be. But it can't just be about his numbers. It's got to be about what's really getting yours, and that's putting a ring on your finger in the process. Because Nico Collins and Tank Dell are both really good players. But trying to defend this offense now, I think it's one of the 3 or 4, or I might be cheating them out of a slot or 2, most explosive offenses, at least on paper, if things work out in the league. Because remember, Dan, Mixon's as good as we have coming out of the backfield, like a McCaffrey catching the football in space. How are you going to defend them all if they're healthy and a little bit lucky with attitude?